This is my fourth year at Owatonna High School. Prior to this, I was the industrial tech teacher for 18 years in Hayfield. And, just coming in with that aspect or that background, we did a remodel at Hayfield in 2000. My facilities were really much better at Hayfield as far as space to accommodate the number of students I have. Things such as lighting, ventilation was far and above better. At Owatonna, as I've worked these 4 years, I suffer from some allergies, but when I go home and if I blow my nose, it's usually just black that comes out of it, which I'm sure is probably not healthy for me or my students to be exposed to that all the time. And that's even with the main ventilation system on, and then at some point in the history of the school they had put a secondary ventilation system in as well, and I always have both of them running all the time. So I see that as really a huge long-term problem, let alone just while the students are here at Owatonna High School. We have approximately 10 booths that are truly welding booths. The welding space or the welding booths are barely big enough for one student to adequately work on, and especially if they're going to work on anything beyond 6 by 6 inch piece of metal. If we wanted to really do a true fabrication, there just isn't the space there to do that. Electrical wiring would be another issue with the safety. Some of our booths, and this was even before my time, are set up so that there are breaker boxes and fuse panels right within the welding booth, which electrically is definitely not a good idea for safety. Electrical loads, we do struggle with that. Usually once, twice a week, we'll blow fuses just as from the students using the welders properly. Some of my welders, as I've looked back, are in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 years old, which is way beyond what their expected life expectancy is. They also are very limited in the number of different types of welding operations that we're able to perform as a result. I keep my textbooks stored simply out in the shop area, so like in the welding shop, that means that when you go to use them, you basically want to brush them off or vacuum them off first, because they're going to have all the sediment out of the air that's floating around in those shops on them. I had a lady that walked through with one of the tours a couple months ago probably, and she walked through it and she said, "Oh, if I'd known it was like this in here, I'm not sure I would have let my child go through here." So definitely not an appealing environment for students to want to go. I've talked to my students. I've gone out and visited some of our local industries, and we'll visit some more of them to try to get some of those ideas of, okay, what do we really need to be closer to industry? And I'll come back and tell my students, the industries here in town, they're not like this. They're well lit, they're well ventilated, you don't have smoke in the air, they're very clean looking. And I said, unfortunately, we don't have that here.